As an organization, Lead, Teach, Learn 360, we help coach systems and systems improvements. And we do coach individuals in that process, but most of our services are about coaching teams to develop their structures and processes that create feedback loops from the classroom to the school site leadership team level to the principals, principal collaboratives, and then the district leadership team.
Okay, welcome back to a special co-branded episode of The Path Forward and Unlock 360. We are here, San Antonio, TexEdCon 2024. I've got friend of the program, regular guest, rock star superintendent, Dr. Michelle Cavazos, Gregory-Portland ISD. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And I've got the most courageous CEO in the business because she puts up with me, Wendy Davoud. LTL Lead, Teach, Learn 360. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Don't
Thank
be
you
scared.
So much.
Don't be scared.
I'm good.
Michelle's gonna be gentle, I think. We talk leadership, and so we've mentioned how Gregory-Portland is just shooting off in the stratosphere, and it's a team effort. But from a perspective of leadership, principals, your cabinet, even board, what are the big ticket items that you think we must do this to be successful?
With developing leaders?
Yes, ma'am.
Coach them. I think every leader it's like an athlete.
Yep.
So many athletes have a personal coach, and I feel the same way for leaders. Like, we provide an executive coach for all of our principals and all of my cabinet.
Awesome.
Because I really, truly believe in that one-on-one coaching. From a coach that's not their evaluator, because they're able to be more vulnerable than when it's someone who's giving them their end-of-year evaluation.
Absolutely.
And that's a great point. Do you find that helpful that you like being a kind of a third party where there's not this? Speak to that a little bit.
Absolutely, yeah. There's just something about it. I mean, even my team and I also, while we provide coaching services and support, we have our own coach as well. And so we work with Lyle Kurtman, who has written a number of books on leadership, and we work with him in a team, and then we also work with him one-on-one. And it's just nice because sometimes you have a challenge that may involve someone on your team, or maybe you're just afraid to say something and don't know how to approach a situation. And you can just open up, you can be vulnerable. I just think it's so critical to have an outside lens. One of my favorite things to say was Tiger Woods has a coach, and his coach isn't better than him. So it's not about being better than.
Yes.
It's about a different perspective, right? So, I think it's really important.
Now, Dr. Cavazos, from your perspective, you've been in other districts, you've seen a lot of programs. How important to you is it that if someone is going to provide services, that they understand your needs, but also can come in and really make a quick connection in an humble kind of way? There's some humility there. We don't have all the answers. We're not here to tell you this is the right thing, you do this. Is that an important factor for you as a superintendent?
Oh, absolutely. Because if we're trying to grow people, it's all about the relationship. And once you have a relationship of trust, then people are unstoppable.
What is there a couple of indicators that you think, okay, you're kind of gauging how staff is reacting? Is there anything that immediately says, okay, this is it, or this I don't know if this is a good fit? Is there anything that you're looking for in particular?
As far as a good fit with a coach?
Yeah, and with your staff, right? If you have a service provider and you're kind of gauging some interaction, because sometimes it can be tough. If you're tweaking or changing, and you're always kind of reading the room to see, all right, are they getting it? Are they feeling it? Is there a level of camaraderie there? How do you gauge that?
I guess it's a little more observational. I mean, knowing my people and knowing and seeing how they interact with their coach or with the provider.
Yes. And Wendy, what's the skill to that? What's the trick to that? When you know, like if a school's in crisis or they're not in crisis, they just need a helping hand.
I wish I could articulate that well, Rick. You did this to me on another episode,
and you
not
answered
long
it,
ago, and I have a hard time pinpointing it because it reminds me of learning to read, and when I taught literacy to middle schoolers who were really struggling with that, I was like suddenly put into this position where Our 7th and 8th graders were reading at a second, third grade level, and I was asked to teach them literacy skills. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do that. I forgot how I learned to read, and I wasn't trained to do that at the time. And so then doing the training is like, oh, that's how. Oh yeah, okay, that's the move. And so I've been coaching individuals and teams for a while now, and so it's kind of hard for me to say.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, how do we do that? That's something that I have to work on. Is Rick is and Michelle is like, how do I explain that? I think there's a lot of listening that goes on, a whole lot of that. Reading their body language, I think that's another piece. People just want to know that you care. They want to know that you care. They want to be heard. And I think that you can develop that relationship once people do feel like, okay, she's genuine, she's authentic. Our team prides ourselves on authenticity and vulnerability. And we don't have all the answers, and that's okay. We try to help our clients figure it out. Sometimes they don't have the time to figure something out, and we may not know right offhand, but we'll try to help them with that and do some of that work behind the scenes. Did I answer your question, Rick, or am I off in a million different directions?
I think that resonates with me, and it isn't necessarily an objective. There's not an objective measure for it necessarily.
Yeah.
It's if you've set up an appointment, a coaching visit, and does the person keep canceling?
Oh,
or
that's a
you
good
start
point.
to read their, like you said, their body language. If they don't really say a whole lot.
Yeah.
They just kind of give one-word answers.
Yeah.
And don't elaborate. Some of those kinds of things.
Yeah, you answered that better than I could.
No, I didn't answer it
that's
better.
You're
it was
right.
just an elaboration.
That was great. Yeah.
And
you're
I think
right.
too, coaches don't have to always have the answers.
Right.
It's really being a great listener, and I think asking the right questions that help the person being coached mediate their own thinking.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Dr. Cavazos, in your estimation, what's harder to coach? Very high-performing leaders or the ones that are kind of in the middle of the pack that they understand they have some growth?
The high performers.
Yes.
If someone understands that they have room to grow, I know I can grow a ton, but someone who's a high performer who thinks they're all there already or that they've arrived, it's a real challenge.
It is.
Okay. Can I disagree with you?
Sure, of
because
course.
I think the high performers are the easiest because, like you, Dr. Cavazos, one of the highest performing leaders of all time. Seriously, the high performers are the ones that are hungry to grow. And so sometimes I find that it's the lower performers who actually, they're the ones who think they have it all down and don't need a coach.
I can see that.
Yeah.
It's okay to disagree.
Give yourself that. Yeah,
But I think there's some high performers that, yes, like me, that want to continue to grow. But I think there's also some high performers who are like, I don't have anything else to do. I'm all that.
Okay. You've arrived.
I've arrived.
I can see that.
So that was where my head was.
I can see that. Yeah. Okay. I see that.
What about veteran teachers, right? So you've got these PLC groups, and they're good or they've been good, and then the state flips around what the expectations are, and all of a sudden we've got to tweak. But they're like, hey, I've been killing it for 10 years, 15 years. What's your approach to that? And Wendy, I want your perspective as well.
So mine is first to listen, and because there's times if I've been successful doing things one way, I'm like, why do I need to change what I'm doing? So it's really starting with that listening and highlighting successes, but then what are some opportunities, helping identify some opportunities for improvement.
Primarily, we, as an organization, Lead, Teach, Learn 360, we help coach systems and systems improvement. So we do coach individuals in that process, but most of our services are about coaching teams to develop their structures and processes that create feedback loops from the classroom to the school site leadership team level to the principal collaboratives, and then the district leadership team, and ensuring that there's a strong alignment between the focus of a district and what a school site team is working on, and then how that's driving the teachers and the teacher team's instructional practices and outcomes for kids in the classroom. And so, to your question, Rick, if if, because we're working with them in teams, a lot of times we will empower those veteran teachers to be on that school site leadership team and give them voice alongside those other leaders that may not be, other teacher leaders that may not be veterans. And then as they start to collaborate and work together and they decide on their action steps and they say, okay, and here's how we're going to measure our progress, frequently that will lead us to starting to do some learning rounds or learning walks in the classroom. And then veterans will start to see, oh, okay, they, so often, too often, teachers aren't in each other's classrooms. And so it may be easy because you've been doing it for a while, you feel super comfortable, you get good evaluations to think, I've got it. But if you don't get out there and see all there is to get, that's when you really start to learn, like, wow, and I have room to grow,
That's a great point. Okay, they're about to kick us out of here. I want to close on this. So as you well know, like, leadership is evolving, probably faster than at any time ever, because the jobs are evolving, the stress is evolving, the demands. How do we ensure that our leaders continue to evolve with the times?
We need coaches.
Dang it, Michelle.
Well, I mean,
you're right.
that's what helps me, though, because
right.
I can get in my own little vortex. And when I have someone that's listening to me and then asks the right questions, I'm like, oh, I hadn't thought about it that way.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Spot on. How would you? Well, she just blow the answer up. But no, seriously, Wendy, any perspective from your end on how do we keep evolving?
Again, I think it's about that teamness and learning from each other. We our work is really grounded in Hattie's research on what works the best, and we know that collective efficacy and expertise is what gets results for kids. And so, because new teachers are coming in, they're coming in with those innovative ideas and practices. Yes. So if we empower them alongside the more veteran folks and in partnership with their principals, then we can keep up with the times.
Well, thank you both. Didn't I tell you? I told you.
You told me, and
I told you, didn't I?
And you know me. I did my homework. I watched your podcast about leadership, and I was like, oh, okay, Rick. Yeah, she speaks our language. I would love to talk with her. So thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate the opportunity.
She's a rock star. And if you want to find out more about LTL 360, Wendy, where do they go?
They can call, text 281-773-4604, or email me at Wendy, Wendy, at LTL360.com.
And for all the leaders out there, you want to find a very supportive, outstanding superintendent and district to work for? Gregory-Portland ISD, Dr. Michelle Cavazos. Check them out. It's a great community with great leadership and just a great family environment for your kids and for your career. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.